Towards the end of my time in high school, my dad went through a period of unemployment. At that time, a lot of people were struggling and suffering, and his company was one of the companies that had to lay off a lot of people. And he ended up, losing his job, being one of those people, in order to try to save the company. And for a few years, my dad was just struggling, getting jobs and being laid off. And it created an entire situation of things and a series of events for my family, where we were really struggling to figure out what we were going to do next. And it had a huge impact on me and my brother and my sister, and just trying to figure out, we ended up having to leave our house and find a new place to live, and my dad constantly searching for work and having to make a lot of sacrifices and changes in the way that we lived, things that we didn't used to have to think about, like getting a drink with your meal or having dessert after dinner. Suddenly, we were tightening the belt and really working tightly on a budget, and all of us were working, trying to help keep us afloat. And it was just kind of a crazy situation where there was a lot of change and a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of stress due to a financial situation that just kind of got out of our control. But one thing that never changed was the fact that every Sunday before Mass, I would still see my dad writing out the check to give, to put in the basket at the Sunday offering. And that never wavered. And I would see him each and every week writing that check, putting it in his wallet, and then at Mass, putting it in the basket. And that witness stayed with me really profoundly. And I would say is one of those things that has just shaped me even until today. And as an adult, looking back and having a conversation with my dad about that time in our lives, he has shared that there were many times where he didn't know how we were going to fill the fridge with groceries or get that work done on the car that we needed to do. But he knew he couldn't give up that check at the Sunday Mass. And that witness has been so profound. And he mentioned that it was not even a conversation between him and my mom, because they knew that the only way that our family was going to see the end of that was to remain faithful to the Lord and to not be afraid to be generous, because the Lord was not going to be outdone in generosity towards us. And today in the gospel, the woman tells us and gives us a very similar example of what my dad did to me in my whole life, that in her poverty, from her nothingness, she still gives God her everything. The gospel says her entire livelihood. And she doesn't hold back out of fear of not having enough for tomorrow, or out of the uncertainty of not knowing how she was going to get by the rest of the day. She just gave. She was generous, and she trusted in what the Lord was going to do with that. And so today we are invited to reflect on, how am I being generous with the Lord? Do I keep things to myself out of fear, out of distrust, out of lack of faith? Or am I giving every single part of me to the Lord in the way that he asked of my dad all those years ago, or of this woman in the gospel during the time of Jesus? Can I say to the Lord that I am being generous, that I am giving from my livelihood, that I am giving him everything and holding nothing back? I ask that you think about that in this week and really take that to prayer, asking Jesus, Lord, where from the little that I have can I then give it all to you?